Lexus SC400. I wanted a Mustang, but I can't stop being off to hentai. Also, I like these double hinged doors.
Aren't they ridiculous?
That's very Lexus, and they're thick. Too.
Yeah.
They're huge.
I like how they kick the door out in front of the fender as opposed to tuck it underneath. That's going to be...
Yeah. Yeah. The first thing is the sacrilege of that there was never... What year is this?
94.
All right, I need my 90s glasses. 90? This is a 94?
Yeah.
My God, this is in good shape.
Now, the guy I got it from, he sat on it for 12 years. He had a pair of them.
Yeah?
He had 2 of them in storage.
Yeah.
He bought 2 at the same time because he wasn't sure what color he wanted. So...
Yeah, I see you got ECT power on.
Yeah.
Give me those downshifts.
I don't notice a difference, if I'm honest. I just leave it on because maybe.
Okay.
In fact, if you left it on normal, I wouldn't know because I never use it.
Uh-huh. So it's a Lexus LS400 with 2 doors, but
yep.
It's not the same platform though, is it?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, it was, according to Wikipedia and from other forum entries that I've read, it's built on the same assembly line as the Mark IV Supra. And
oh my goodness, this is smooth.
That it does do very well.
There's 60 and then there's 100. God, this is so good. And quite agile for its size and the type of car it is. Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah.
The
agility handle.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, if it had, we spoke before that these things would have had the people swap in the manual transmission from.
I think the 350 is the big one.
Okay.
Like you said, with the rev matching, I haven't heard about that. But the 350, I suppose it doesn't have that. So I've done a lot of research, and there was never any mention of any rev matching.
Ah.
There.
All right, throwback to the 90s. There still is cup holders in there just to...
Yeah, just jam it. There.
So I get... Ooh.
That's a proper one, I guess.
This is almost like General Motors. There's some un-Toyota stuff. I'm sure this will last forever, but the doing doing doing, if this was like 100% Lexus, this wouldn't be doing this. It would be a soft open, just but it's not.
So you get the flip-out cup holder there for the passenger. The driver is back here.
Yep.
I have a cutout there, and that's just, oh, right, smoking.
That I pull out, and then I have my phone mount that goes in the charger.
It's interesting that in the 90s, no one really messed with the double din legacy, but the Lexus figured they did by putting a volume knob outside of this.
Yeah.
So I guess if you swap this to a modern head unit, this would just become inoperable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I got the car, the speakers immediately blew, but rather than give it due diligence and actually troubleshoot the problem, I just threw the parts cannon at it.
Yeah.
I put a new head unit in. Because I've never had a car with the speakers just stop working. It sounds weird, but that's just been my experience. So once the light stops blinking, we've ejected.
So it's loading all the CDs into the cartridge?
Yeah, so whatever was playing, it just popped it back.
Oh, just the one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there we have it.
Nice.
Soundgarden.
There you go. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's it. And
all right, here's your agility.
Yeah, here it goes. Yay, 90s.
If you said that was a V8, you're like, that's a V8?
Right.
It's like,
yeah.
it just sounds like a 4-cylinder. Like,
It's very, very muted with the exhaust.
Yeah,
for
I can
sure.
see why people like to open these things up, but at the same time, you're sort of ruining the silent sophistication that is the SC400.
I know, I'm kind of torn myself because
Man, this thing would just, it's made for road trip. It just eat miles and
Oh,
miles
yeah.
and miles and miles and miles, as you did.
Yep. I was 9 hours on the road yesterday.
Wow.
With some roads much like this. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
I just keep it out of the overdrive button with roads like this. It does.
I'm already in
somewhat
second
help.
gear. I'm
Oh, okay,
locked
yeah.
in second, so
All
it's yeah, pure GT. The manual would solve a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of space in between these gears.
Yeah, it really does dog this car, unfortunately. But, in time.
Right.
I might make that change in the next couple of years or so. I have to try to buy a house first. I need a garage to do the job in.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Now this, when you could tell they're going after Mercedes, like dead on. If it wasn't apparent enough with the LS400, it's definitely with this. All right, is there traction control?
There is, and it's violent. So we can turn it off if you want, but
All right. Normally, that's the gravelly one that
I'll swing
upsets cars, but it's not in this case.
it. This also does
Yeah,
have
it's
an
fighting back there a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep, I saw it kick in.
It blinks, yeah.
Traction, yep.
I believe it's an open diff as well. I don't think it's a limited slip.
My 2004 Runner has DRLs,
Yeah.
but all they did,
Heads up, squirrely.
I didn't check if this one did. Does this have DRLs on it?
Yes.
Okay, so in 94, so you had the law before us.
Yes.
But I think all that Toyota did, all they did for us is put in a giant resistor.
Oh, okay, so kept the headlights on, but it just dimmed them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see it in my 4Runner. You open it up, and it's just this big heat sink. It's like, oh, great. I mean, Subaru did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They didn't put in a separate circuit or a separate light bulb.
Yeah.
So your headlights, well, I guess
I'd imagine it'd be the same for this, because why would they, engineer two different systems?
if it's going to the same market, all they have to do is change the dash pod.
Yeah.
That's it. I often wondered why, I was trying to remember what car I was in recently, where they just put it's cost. Oh, that's why, because it's another system that Toyota wouldn't want to fail. That old thing where you can go between kilometers and Imperial with that button, and it's just one set of numbers. It's just your
the
needle
changes.
moves.
Oh, okay.
But that may be redundant, that Toyota wouldn't want to do. I don't know. Toyota in the 90s is sort of hard to pin down. They still were in the angry period, and we're still innovating.
Yep.
I mean, my argument goes that Toyota stopped innovating when they stopped making the MR2. When that ended in like 02 or 04 or something.
Second gen or
Third gen.
Third gen, yeah.
Third gen.
Yeah.
Now, also, I like that this SC400 is not tinted.
It's very
doesn't have
lightly,
that-
if at all. I don't know if it's factory or not, but yeah. Driving down here, I'm heading south. In the early morning, the sun's coming up to the east. So what I do is, the sun's baking my left side of my face. So I pop this open. You want to slide that over to your side there. And look how much of the window that covers. The whole side of your face is exposed.
Huh.
And it doesn't slide. Like that's as far as it goes. Now, good job, guys. It's the 90s. They didn't think of that. But they were paying attention to this strip right above your rear view mirror. It doesn't make...
They give you a little tampon there.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Of all things to cover up, they thought of that, but they didn't think of the entire side of your head.
Yeah. Do they put a temperature gauge in here for you?
They do, and it's sitting right in the middle.
Right in the... Oh,
Sorry, yeah, and
there.
the gauge itself is on the far left.
Far
far
left.
left.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
where the lights.
a relative gauge. It's probably doing the Ford thing that as long as it's in normal, it's going to be right below. It's not going to fluctuate
Yeah,
because that freaks out customers.
Yeah.
It freaked me out on the way here because I was.
Oh, it got warm?
It got cold, believe it or not. And this is during the spirited driving portion on Highway 44. like through these really windy bits, and I was, you know, I had just held it in third or with no overdrive. Anyways, I was going through the hills and mountains and all that, and the needle started to dip, and I'm thinking, I'm like, shit, uh-oh, maybe thermostat's going for a crap, but it eventually leveled out once I was off the mountain, so I thought it was a little weird, and it did. It made me a little concerned, like, it never did that any time else before or after or whatever, so, yeah.
It is just jumping heat out of the bottom of the car.
Yeah. It does run very hot.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's never given me an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so
This is the corner that upsets cars. It doesn't even do anything. Of course, I didn't go that hard into it because it's rear wheel drive and I was a little bit hesitant on that.
Honestly, these tires, once I put them on, I have not had any issues whatsoever as far as losing traction, which is kind of a bummer because, you know, when you want to, it won't.
Yeah.
When I got the car, it came with these really shitty Chinese snow tires on it, worn out, dry rotted and everything.
Yeah.
And I drove it, I got the car in November.
Yeah.
And I drove it a little bit in Ontario, obviously, before the snow flew, before the salt came down.
Yeah.
And it was all over the place. It was pretty fun. Then I get some nice new tires, you know, and then, yeah, now it's just planted all the time.
Nice.
Which is great, but again.
Were there any sort of maintenance things that you had to take care of?
Yes, but I don't know if we have enough time to list them all. Okay, so I got to explain the jankiness of my ownership here so far. There's normally this cover here. You see that plastic there? That usually covers this bank of, I guess, injector wires and whatnot. So the day I got the car, I'm driving it home, and it threw an EGR code. I was 32 kilometers into it, and the engine light comes on. Of course, the car's been sitting for 12 years.
Yeah.
So you do what you do with these ones. You get the diagnosis on a OBD1 car. You jump the pins and count the flashes. So it had a EGR fault. So I go online, check out what's what, and sure enough, they're pretty expensive to replace if you even want to. There are EGR delete kits for it, but they're kind of getting hard to come by from what I've seen. So the temporary fix is to simply unplug the sensor. This is the jankiness that I was telling you about. It is just the plug for the EGR sensor, I think a temperature sensor, and you jump it with a resistor. They gave me the spec online. I went to the local electronic supply store for $1.90. I got a pack of whatever, however, it's actually in the glove box. And you just jump the connector, tape it up, and haven't had a problem since.
Awesome.
And luckily it's in its closed position, so there's no, like, I guess, vac leaks or whatnot. So it still runs great, and it's not throwing the code anymore.
Sweet.
Now look at this. This is another, this is beyond comprehension why they would bother with this, but engine fan fluid. It's a hydraulically driven engine fan, cooling fan.
Yeah, that's the type of...
And you got to use ATF, same as the power steering.
Okay, so that's the same as my 4Runner. I use ATF for that.
Do you have do you have that as well?
No, mine's a clutch fan.
Okay, yeah. I'm wondering if
That
they did
is so freaking bizarre.
I don't get it at all.
I don't get it.
Again, my friend was...
This is like a Mercedes thing. This doesn't make sense. This is very un-Toyota. Is an electric motor so freaking expensive? I'll bet the electric motor to source that thing, the entire fan assembly for an radiator hot. The entire fan assembly would be more expensive to manufacture on scale than probably both of those hard lines.
Yeah.
In that specific size and those bends.
I have to chalk it up.
Anyway, you were saying?
It has. I'm assuming it's just an NVH thing. They just wanted to make it as quiet as possible, and I mean this engine.
Okay, that does make sense.
They just didn't want it to be as like a clutch fan. You know how loud that thing is when you start it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same as I have a 21 Tacoma as well. It still has a clutch fan. 21. Yeah. Okay. And it sounds like a shop vac when you fire it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. No, really, it's just stuff to improve its longevity. You know, the big stuff was timing belt, water pump, SERP belt, New rad. I had a seeping rad, so I put a new one in. Tires, brakes, new wheels. What else? There was just some, I guess that's...
Oh, there it is. Okay, so you just have to put your foot down.
Oh, yeah. If you bury it, it really does like to move. I was thinking, this thing feels a little slower now. I don't know what's going on. Hey, there we
that
go.
guy again.
Yes.
So that is a 911. That's not a 992.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an oldie.
Yeah.
Probably late 70s, you think? Or probably early 80s,
I
maybe.
wish I knew Porsches.
Yeah. It's tough to tell sometimes in that era.
Porsches didn't really exist in my world.
Mm-hmm.
I think my one friend Jen, her dad had like a 99, the whale tail one.
Yeah.
But that was it. I just remember going to her house and it just sat in the garage. It didn't do anything.
Yeah. Kind of a waste.
Yeah.
I like it when they're just out there.
Yeah.
Which is why I kind of like having this, because the guy had it for 12 years, just sitting in the garage. I'm like,
Yeah.
and this has been a car I've had in the back of my mind since I was a teenager. Just absolutely love these things.